NBA basketball that there ever was.
Worthy follows it in.
It just all blended at once.
It was special, and you just felt the life in there.
No, it's winning time.
This was the time for guys and franchises to shine.
Proceed with the operation. Roger.
The 1980s marked what many consider the birth of the modern era in the NBA. The decade began with the introduction of two of basketball's most legendary players, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Joined by stars both new and old, the NBA quickly transformed itself into a worldwide phenomenon, filled with excitement, intense rivalries,
It always happens to be Boston Celtics and LA Laker time.
and unforgettable moments.
Jaw to jaw.
These are the Lakers' top 10 memories of the 1980s. Number 10, Kareem retires. On April 23, 1989, the Lakers honored Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in his final season as a player. Transcending local stardom, Kareem was showered with gifts and praise as he played his final games in each city throughout that memorable season.
Let's hear it. Here is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem's retirement was one of the coolest things that I've seen. There was the cap in his sweatsuit, Chick Hearn, Pat Riley, Magic Johnson.
You know, at that time, they were really doing farewells. They were really doing them up big.
I just remember all the cool gifts Kareem got that year as he toured around the league in his retirement ceremonies.
They gave him the rocking chair. That was the big joke.
All right. Come on over here. We got to show you what we got you. Since you've been carrying us on your back for all these years, we decided to get you something that can carry you. Here are the keys to your new Rolls Royce.
But Pat Riley, you know, he had everybody pass the hat for 1/12 or 1/15 of a Rolls Royce. Even if they got a markdown on the thing, you know, it was still a Rolls Royce.
Give it up, give it up. I think when we look for heroes and people that we can respect and want to be like, I know I always wanted to be like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
You want your heroes and you want your idols and you want those guys that you grew up playing to play forever. It was kind of sad day, actually. I was a senior in high school to know that the cap was coming to the end of his time. You know, Kareem was our captain.
It was kind of the bookend at the end of an unforgettable career. We wanted to pay homage to a man that had carried the organization for so many years and, you know, his complete package.
His impact on the franchise, you know, he's right there with Magic. You know, no Kareem, who knows if Magic wins any championships.
You got to remember, Kareem won 6 titles, 5 with the Lakers, 1 with the Milwaukee Bucks, and he won all 3 years in college, and he's the all-time leading scorer. So when you talk about Kareem, you could easily make the argument that he was the greatest player of all time.
As I saw him rocking back and forth, I saw somebody that played the game of life between his ears.
Our countdown continues with number 9, surviving the Memorial Day Massacre. Part of what made the 80s such an exciting decade of basketball was the parity that existed between the league's top teams. The 1985 NBA Finals was a perfect example of that parity. In Game 1, the Lakers were beaten by the Celtics by 34 points.
Lakers are totally out of their game right now, and they're not used to this.
A loss so embarrassing, it was instantly dubbed the Memorial Day Massacre. But instead of a setback, the Lakers used the loss to inspire them to come out swinging in Game 2. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar led the team with a double-double and eventually an NBA title over their hated rivals.
Well, the first game of the 1985 NBA Finals was, oh no, here we go again. I mean, after all those losses to the Celtics, After all the high hopes that this was going to be different, to get blown out by 34 points.
Lakers are totally out of their game right now, and they're not used to this.
148 to 114. Every single shot the Celtics throw up goes in.
No contest. Game one. Give it to the Boston Celtics by a wide margin.
You're sick as a Laker fan at that point. You just want to beat the Celtics. You've had enough.
Parrish has beaten the ball up the court every single time.
You start thinking, okay, the Lakers lost all those championships in the past with Jerry West. Then they just beat us, and now we're going for another. And so you have that anxiety because the pressure's on you, and you got to change history here.
They deserve a lot of credit. We'll be back, you know. If a 7-game series can be decided in one game, then it would be over with, but there's going to be 6 more basketball games.
You have this anxiety, but we practiced, and Pat Riley was motivating us.
And before Game 2, Pat had been saving this kind of like a Newt Rockne speech.
He said, a man stands up. There are a few times in your life where you have to stand up and show everybody who you are. This is one of those times.
And that speech, talking to the players later, it fired them up. They responded.
We made a commitment that whatever happens, we were going to leave it all on the court.
See the aggressiveness of the Lakers. Bullet pass, magic to James Worthy.
We decided that if it's going to be physical play, we can play like that too, and we did. We took it to them from that point on.
It did something for Kareem. I don't know what it did. And when that game started, the big fella was ready.
4 on the shot clock. Kareem goes up and stuffs it through.
It was like, what are we going to do about last night? What are you guys going to do about tonight? So it was a great mano-a-mano moment.
When he started throwing those sky hooks and running like a 18-year-old up and down the court, it just spread. It was so contagious. And from that moment, from Game 2, we know we're going to win a championship.
Kareem had 30 points and 17 rebounds in Game 2, and the Lakers went on to win the series in 6, claiming their first ever over the Celtics. In a series with 9 eventual Hall of Famers, it was the captain who took home the Finals MVP.
It feels good, to know that you're not dead. They had people throwing dirt on my face. It's good to know that that was a little premature.
Coming up next, Big Game James has one of the biggest games in Finals history.
It's one of those situations where you're not going to be denied. And the tougher the bad boys got, the more it just played into my game.
And Kurt Rambis receives one of the biggest hats in Finals history. When the Top 10 80s memories continues.
I look back on the 80s as the best decade of NBA basketball that there ever was.
I think what defined the NBA in the 80s was literally the NBA being saved.
The Lakers are the world champions.
Well, the 80s, I think the league was in a crossroads.
There were real questions that whether the NBA could survive as a major force. And of course, the biggest change was that Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came around.
Suddenly you had characters, you had storylines, you had teams you could identify with.
The Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, Detroit Pistons, Philadelphia 76ers, all powerhouse teams, and the league really became invigorated.
Jordan coming in '84, it had just never been that popular, and it also was being viewed by more people.
And a lot of that had to do with the way that Jerry Buss conducted business with the Los Angeles Lakers. Because with him, it wasn't just about having stars on the court. We need stars in the seat. And it really changed the perception of the NBA as a whole.
It was really a star-studded league. There was a lot of stars' personalities.
I still have those tapes, and I'll never get rid of them. I got a VHS machine in my house just so I can watch the 80s finals games between the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Sixers. It's the best basketball I've ever seen.
And now, back to the countdown. Number 8, James Worthy's Big Game.
Big Game James.
Worthy.
There's certain people who live for big moments, and James Worthy is one of those.
In what is known as one of the best single-game performances in NBA history, James Worthy racked up a triple-double against the Bad Boy Pistons in the 1988 NBA Finals.
36 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists.
Worthy again.
The performance secured Worthy the honor of the Finals MVP and assured his place in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Pat Riley, gave us the challenge a day after we had won in '87. So we hadn't had a chance to go on vacation. We hadn't had a chance to drink more bubbly or anything. He issued that challenge, and it's probably one of the biggest challenges he's ever given in his career.
Next year, we're going to win it again.
No one had repeated in 20 years. We were down 3-2 in that series. Came back to the Forum, won Game 6.
Game 7 of the NBA Finals, James Worthy was on a different level from the opening tip. The way that he was attacking the basket, the way he was grabbing rebounds. I didn't know what a triple-double was. I just knew that Worthy was everywhere.
Worthy.
Game 7, NBA Finals, everything on the line. I'm the guy that has the ball in his hands, and that was James Worthy.
Detroit was an extremely difficult team.
Kareem puts pressure on Isaiah, throws the ball.
That was a series in which they battled on even terms from beginning to end.
They figured if they could stop Kareem and Magic, they had a pretty good chance, and they felt like they could, monitor me and diminish some of my contribution, and I was just willing to say, not this time.
And he gets it over John Salley.
What a time to come out. Game 7 against the baddest boys in the NBA at that time, the Detroit Pistons.
It's just one of those situations where you're not going to be denied. You don't care who it is. And the tougher the bad boys got, the more it just played into my game.
The only question I have for you, do you think James Worthy wants another ring?
It's very rare that you can come up with your absolute best performance when the spotlight is the brightest. And I think that game put James Worthy in the Hall of Fame.
Worthy.
He had one triple-double in his career. One. And it happened in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Worthy follows it in.
Game 7, to win it like we did, hits the big free throw to ice it. It just meant that he was big game, man. He was clutch.
Game ends. The Lakers have won it again.
And that's kind of the game that really put him up there, put his jersey up there on the wall with all the other greats from the Showtime Lakers of the 1980s.
We were determined to win back-to-back. It hadn't been done in 19 years, so that was our mission, and I made it my own.
And now, number 7, McHale clotheslines Rambis. Of all of the individual plays that defined the NBA in the 1980s, few are as visually striking as the hack Kevin McHale laid on Kurt Rambis during the 1984 Finals. James Worthy fed a hard-charging Rambis during a fast break, where he was clotheslined midair by McHale, sending Rambis crashing to the hardwood.
And you knew this was going to happen.
The foul would be remembered as a major turning point in the series and an indelible moment in one of sport's greatest rivalries.
Yelling at Larry Bird.
The worst, but maybe the most important Lakers-Celtic moment was a Kevin McHale clothesline of Kurt Rambis, because that showed to all of LA and to the world what thugs the Boston Celtics were. It showed how unfair they could play sometimes.
When we see the clothesline play, as a Laker fan, you want to literally jump out and strangle McHale.
So you have the Lakers-Celtics rivalry and who those guys were, kind of the physical, knock you in the mouth, heart and soul of the two teams.
Kurt was a big guy. He was the Lakers' physical presence. He brought his lunch pail every game. But it was McHale and the Celtics with that fundamental, this is how you play style, trying to send a message.
Even when I see McHale coming in as a visiting coach, in my head I'm thinking, you're dirty, man. You don't do that. But as you get older and you realize what 80s basketball is all about, I'm surprised there weren't more of that. But still, though, not McHale. Hate that guy.
And as you remember that series, Lakers crush them in Game 3 to go up 2-1 in the series. So now you got Game 4. Lakers are up 2-1. You totally expect the Lakers to go up 3-1. Let's take care of business.
Until obviously Kurt got, clotheslined by Kevin McHale.
Kevin McHale took Kurt out of midair. I don't know what his intentions were, but it kind of threw us off balance.
And that kind of changed our outlook on the way to play. Then we start forgetting about playing basketball. We start thinking about getting them back.
Magic takes the ball and Magic throws it away. 3 seconds.
anything to throw us off. That was an old Red Auerbach kind of a concept. I'm going to get thrown out of the game and incentivize my team. And we just lost it. And it was just a bad, bad taste.
We got out of our game, and they ended up winning that series. But, you know, obviously, we learned from that mistake.
The Boston Celtics are the NBA World Champions.
I think it gave the Lakers and their fans resolve that, you know what, this is not going to happen again. Boston can do this only so much. Enough is enough. And they didn't win that year, but they got them back many times after that.
Coming up, Pat Riley makes a bold guarantee.
It was a brilliant move.
And one of the decade's greatest voices adds his personal touch to the national anthem.
This rendition blew people's minds.
When the Top 10 80s Memories continues. Welcome back to the Lakers' Top 10 80s Memories. Before we get back to the countdown, let's take a quick look back at how we got here. At number 10, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retires from the sport with honors in 1989.
You could easily make the argument that he was the greatest player of all time.
For the number 9 moment, the Lakers survive a tough loss to the Celtics in the 1985 finals.
Kareem goes up and stuffs it through.
And at number 8, James Worthy has a triple-double in the 1988 finals. Coming in at number 7, Kurt Rambis is taken out by a savage clothesline from Kevin McHale in 1984.
As a Laker fan, you want to literally jump out and strangle McHale.
Now we continue on with the Lakers' Top 10 80s Memories. Number 6, Pat Riley's guarantee. After splitting titles with the Celtics in 1984 and 1985, the Lakers captured another championship from Boston in the 1987 NBA Finals. During the postgame parade, brash head coach Pat Riley surprised the crowd with a bold promise.
I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year we're going to win it again.
Wow. I mean, for all his GQ looks, that dude drove that team hard.
People talk about Showtime, and it's Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Cooper. They go on down the line. But if you think about what actually inspired those guys, what kind of guided them, what held them together.
Hard work, concentration, and dedication is not going to guarantee you anything. But without it, you don't stand a chance.
Riley, if you read any of his books, will tell you that you have to challenge yourself and others. And so he had premeditated that if they won that 87 title, he said they were going to do it again.
I think that guarantee spoke to just the confidence with which the organization conducted itself. And you don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Was it because of Jerry Buss that Pat Riley acted that way? Was it just luck that Pat Riley happened to fit that same image, that Jerry Buss wanted to instill?
It reveals the kind of guy that Riley was. It reveals the expectations that he had for his team, that he had for the franchise, the expectations that these guys have for themselves.
It's hard enough going through the course of one season and winning. It takes a lot out of you. But then for your coach to come out and guarantee.
And I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year we're going to win it again.
You want to talk about a lot of pressure being placed on your players, to have your coach look at an entire city, an entire crowd filled with Laker fans and saying, we're going to do it again.
The initial impact that his guarantee had was all negative. There wasn't a single player standing up there that didn't want to kill Pat Riley in the moment.
Well, the reaction from the players was that, give us a couple of months to party and relax and go on vacation. It was a brilliant move.
Anybody who understands success and finishing first or winning on a regular basis knows that it doesn't happen by chance.
Put insane pressure on the team and, of course, ignited the competition.
I feel grateful to be part of the team, and I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year we're going to win it again.
And they had to play 24 playoff games in order to win that championship. Probably the hardest fought championship they've ever had.
The Lakers have won it again. They'll never forget this moment.
And the funniest thing was that in 1988, when they did indeed repeat, and they were up there again on the stage, and Pat Riley got up to the microphone, Kareem grabbed a towel and shoved it in his mouth so he couldn't guarantee a three-peat.
Well, would you like to step up here and guarantee a third straight to start this off, Coach?
There's comments like that that end up working out to those guys that I think kept them on such a perfectly guided path throughout that era.
This only proved the genius of Pat Riley, guaranteeing a title the next year and making those great players that he had, those veteran players, accountable for their actions the next season. And have that work out.
The Lakers have won it again. Took 19 years to win them back-to-back.
Back-to-back! Yeah! Yeah! On to number 5. Marvin Gaye rocks the Forum. Referred to by many as the Prince of Soul, Marvin Gaye had long been one of the most influential R&B singers of his generation once the 1980s rolled around. In 1983, Gaye was invited to sing the Star-Spangled Banner at the NBA All-Star Game. Before an entranced Forum crowd, he would sing one of the most replayed and impressive renditions of the song to date.
Up until about 5 minutes before he was supposed to sing it, nobody could find him. So it's like, where's Marvin? This is an all-star game, and we don't have anybody to sing the anthem. And here's Marvin walking down the stands. He came in like a regular entrance. He's got those big sunglasses on.
These were big 1983 mirrored sunglasses, and he did not take them off. And he steps to the microphone, and you hear a drum track behind it.
And then he starts singing.
Say, can you see?
You could tell instantly this was not going to be your normal national anthem.
He's on another planet. He's not singing the national anthem. We all know the melody. We all know how it goes.
It wasn't your typical string section or the pomp and circumstance.
I've heard 10,000 national anthems, but I never heard a rendition like Marvin Gaye's.
Broad stripes and pride.
This blew people's minds, and not in a positive way. You know, there was a lot of controversy seeing him reinterpret the national anthem the way he did. This is about a year after Sexual Healing came out, so he's seen with a very sexual image. He's also seen with a very political image. You know, what's going on? It's an overtly political album, and to see him on a national stage reinterpret the national anthem the way he did, it was unforgettable, it was controversial, and in my opinion, it was beautiful.
The way he stood there, commanded the arena, had the sunglasses on, did it his way. Still, you watch it to this day, a little bit of chills.
It was a spiritual thing. I mean, you were just feeling the anthem like you never felt the anthem before.
I remember going up to Jerry Buss and saying, I'm sorry, and he looked at me and goes, this is one of the greatest anthems in the history of the world.
By the end of it, the crowd is actually clapping along as if they're at a concert.
I sort of remember watching that, thinking to myself, can we just have the Marvin Gaye concert tonight?
Marvin Gaye stands out, the most soulful rendition in the history of national anthems, and nobody could ever duplicate it, nobody should ever try it.
Coming up next, the greatest scorer in NBA history takes his place at the top.
He earned it. He deserved it.
And Magic hits the shot that defined an entire decade of basketball when the top 10 memories of the 1980s continues.
Kobe on the way.
Our countdown continues with just a few moments remaining. Up next, the Cap takes his crown. Number 4, Kareem breaks the scoring record. On April 5th, 1984, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needed only 22 points to pass Wilt Chamberlain and become the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. The Lakers were playing the Utah Jazz in Las Vegas at the Thomas & Mack Center when Kareem hit the shot that took him to the top of the list. where he still stands today.
I don't think there's an assist on the play.
When you're about to make history, there's this sense of excitement and everybody wants to be there.
There's a lot of attention being thrown his way. When are you going to break it? How are you going to break it?
He swings left. He shoots right. It's no good from 17. The rebound.
I remember before the game, Magic was telling him, hey, listen, Cap, you're going to break the record tonight. And he told everybody else, and I'm going to be the one to give him the assist.
Lakers with 9.5 to play, and Kareem needing 1 point.
Magic was not going to allow anybody else to make that assist. He chased that ball down until he got it and made sure he got it to Kareem.
And that's what happened.
Everybody's waving their arms. It's into Kareem. Kareem swing left, right hand 12-footer.
The fact that he scored the record breaker with a sky hook, the single most dominant shot in the history of the NBA, was just the cherry on top of the whole Sunday.
The shot that rang the basketball bell around the world.
Nobody matches Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Growing up, you emulated his sky hook. He was the captain. So for Kareem to hit the hook, and to do it in Vegas, by the way, must have been awesome.
It was an emotional night. You know, he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record.
The pictures tell the words. They love their captain. They love their leader.
I want to thank all of you fans for your tremendous support. Thank you very much.
Have you ever seen this before? I think he really changed the way centers play basketball. So it was only appropriate that he set the scoring record. He earned it. He deserved it.
Kareem's scoring record is it's out there.
Who's going to score that many points? I'm serious.
Abdul-Jabbar dribble around Donaldson, reverse slam dunk. This man has accomplished something that I don't believe, and I mean this sincerely. I don't think this will ever happen again.
It just speaks to the fact that Kareem had the most unguardable shot in the history of basketball. And that's what allowed him to just score at will whenever he wanted.
Shot is 6, straight away is good.
His sky hook, he could hit from 15 feet. No way you could stop that.
To this day, there has never been a shot like the sky hook.
Kareem, long sky hook.
It's funny how Kareem is never brought up in the discussions when people talk about the greatest of all time.
Inside.
And I don't understand why.
He has 6 NBA championships. He won 6 MVP awards, the most of any player in the history of the game. Nobody matches Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The captain retired with 38,387 points, a record which still stands today, a record he set in the 15th year of a brilliant 20-year career, a record that no player has even come within 1,000 points of passing.
It was just nice to see all that history of longevity come to a point of breaking the best record in the NBA. It was just an awesome night for him.
Kareem swing left, right hand 12-footer.
Our countdown continues with number 3, the baby hook. It almost goes without saying that 1980s NBA basketball was defined by the rivalry between the Lakers and the Celtics.
There's nothing like that era when those two teams were so much better than everybody else. It's almost like you could sit there at the beginning of the year and say, okay, see you at the end.
After losing to LA in the 1985 finals, the Celtics were fired up to put another world championship back on their side of the rivalry in 1987.
Lakers had lost in '84 to the Celtics. They beat the Celtics in '85. So '87 was really a rubber match of the finals.
The Lakers had slammed them twice pretty good in Los Angeles. It really came down to Game 4 after the Celtics won Game 3.
As the teams prepared for the critical Game 4 in Boston, tensions were running high.
It was a comeback game. We were down. We came back second half, and then we had an opportunity to win. Kareem, I think, hit one free throw, missed the second one, went out on McHale, and we set up a play.
Down 106-105 when Coop inbounds to Magic, who's one-on-one against Kevin McHale.
He goes across the middle on a mismatch because they switch, and all of a sudden Kevin McHale's guarding him.
So with about, 4 seconds or so, 5 seconds, I just remember Magic exploring the situation, and he looked at Kareem, and it wasn't enough room for him to get it to him.
But the second Magic got McHale back on his heels with that little hesitation dribble, it was thanks for coming, drive safely, and good night, because there's no way Magic was going to miss that baby skyhook.
It was an amazing moment because I think time stood still. If you look at the picture, you can see all the people looking up in anticipation of what was going to happen. And when he hit it, the Lakers went crazy. And the Garden was completely deflated.
That was Magic's moment. It was one of the greatest calls of Chick's career.
Magic, he's got it. He didn't shoot it. 5 seconds left. Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12. Good!
And the funny part about it is McHale and Paris jumped up to block his shot. All Magic had to do was dump that thing off to Kareem.
I rolled to the basket. I was wide open. But Irvin shot the shot. It went in.
He hooked it over the greatest front line in the game at that point, over those three guys.
We're talking about a Boston Celtics team that has Robert Parrish down there, that has Kevin McHale, that has Larry Bird, that's still one of the best front courts in NBA history. And there he is, floating across the lane and letting it go.
To the left goes Magic. He's got it. He didn't shoot it. 5 seconds left. Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12. Good!
So as soon as he hits it, you know, we're all jumping up and down and having a good time. But we forgot there was still a little time left on the clock. And they did have a guy named Larry Bird.
The Celtics got the ball back, and Larry Bird, you know, they only had a couple of seconds, and Larry Bird got the ball in the corner.
Bird fires it. And the Lakers have won.
As a Laker fan, and during the Showtime era, and against the Celtics on the parquet floor, so good.
Los Angeles would go on to win the series in 6 games, but it was in Game 4, with one flick of the wrist, that Magic Johnson and the Lakers won the decade.
To Irvin, he'd say that was the ultimate fact. This shot won a crucial game, and it gave Irvin forever a 2-1 edge over Larry Bird in the finals.
I mean, it's not even close. This is the sweetest championship.
Up next, what will be the #1 Lakers memory of the 1980s? Will it be a series defined by the greatest individual performance in finals history?
An unbelievable performance by Magic Johnson.
Or a finals series defined by revenge?
Well, it's winning time. It's time to go back and win.
The answer is coming up. We're down to the top 2 80s memories in Lakers history. But first, let's take a look at a few of the moments that just barely missed the list. Sweeping the first 3 rounds of the playoffs in 1989.
In 1989, the Lakers were trying to do something that very few teams ever dream of doing. They were trying to three-peat.
We still had our core. You know, Magic Kareem's last year. Byron Scott was really playing well. Going through the first couple of rounds, we were like, look, we're on a mission to win another championship.
They're beating up teams, punching them in the mouth, and just taking care of business.
Did not lose a game.
Three-pointer by Magic.
You think about the mental wherewithal that it takes to go to different cities, people beating on you every night, and to just keep winning. That's some mental toughness.
They sweep the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. They're 11-0 going into the finals against the Pistons. But here's where it all fell apart. Pat Riley knew they were going to have this extended layoff before they took on the Pistons in the NBA Finals.
Pat Riley worked them harder than he did in the preseason. Both Byron Scott and Magic Johnson suffered injuries that knocked them out of the finals, and the Lakers went on to lose.
He tried to make his prophecy come through with a three-peat, and it backfired.
The 1982 championship.
The thing I remember most about the 1982 finals was the Laker fast break was at its peak.
And the outlet and the fast break is going. Super fast got Magic. Down with it to Nixon. He has Wilkes on his left.
One thing I remember most about the 1982 season was Bob McAdoo. This was one of the greatest additions to a lineup ever for the Los Angeles Lakers.
There goes McAdoo. He's got it. He slam dunks it.
He was unstoppable. You're talking about one of the greatest shooting big men in the history of the game.
That team to go against Dr. J's 76ers and beat that special 76er team just shows you how special the Laker team was. With Magic and Kareem on the team, that 1-2 punch, arguably, I think, the greatest 1-2 punch in history.
Slam dunk.
And now, back to the countdown. #2, the 1980 championship.
A young man by the name of Magic Johnson is going to start at center.
Putting a guard at center?
I enjoy challenges, and it's a challenge tonight to see what I can do.
In 1980, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Philadelphia 76ers faced off in the NBA Finals. It was a series that featured 4 future Hall of Famers and one of the NBA's most famous moves. With the series tied at 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the story of Game 5. The captain scored 40 points, including the game winner, all with a severely sprained ankle. But when the ankle was slow to recover, Kareem was forced to sit out Game 6. Most Laker fans wrote the game off, praying that the big man would return for Game 7. However, rookie point guard Magic Johnson had other plans and authored one of the most historic performances in NBA history.
I got hurt in Game 5.
Kareem turns underneath, puts it up and scores on a finger roll. Fine, but Kareem's hurt. Kareem turned an ankle.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goes off like this. He is injured.
My ankle swelled up really bad. It hurt a lot. I didn't think that I could play on it.
Now keep in mind, at this point, Kareem was the best player in the NBA. Most unstoppable force in the league.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, honestly, is on his way to Finals MVP. Kareem was the dominant force. This is still Kareem in a season where he was the league MVP in 1980. And here he has to sit out Game 6. Everybody feels it's a mail-in game.
Boy, they would be in more than serious trouble without him. I don't think they could beat this run.
You're not beating the Sixers without Kareem. It's just, it's not going to happen.
Remember, the 76ers had Dr. J, Daryl Dawkins, huge players. Paul Westhead, who was the coach, says, we're going to play Irvin Summit center. And we're thinking, come on. First of all, now he was a point guard. Now he's going to play center.
Are you going to play center on offense in this game? Yeah, I will be changing from center to forward on certain plays. Depending what play we call, I will be playing from center and forward.
He's a young kid. He's straight out of Michigan State. He hasn't proven or made himself to be the legend that we all known him to be.
When he got on the plane, Magic goes, have no fear, EJ the DJ is here. And he sat in Kareem's seat, and we went to Philadelphia, and he had one of the greatest games that a rookie has ever had on his way to winning a championship.
Magic didn't just have one of the greatest games a rookie ever had. He had one of the greatest games in Finals history. EJ the DJ finished the game with 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists, earning Magic his first Finals MVP.
But what stands out is just trying to keep track of where he was. He tipped off the ball at center.
And Magic Johnson will come in and jump.
You kind of get used to that and seeing how he's going to handle a guy like Dawkins, and now he's at point guard, and he's whipping those bullet passes.
Magic won it by just taking over the game, and he did everything. He scored, he passed, he rebounded.
Is that rookie again? Magic dishes Wilkes this time.
For him to do what he did, playing all 5 positions at some point of that game, to me, is the single greatest game ever played by a Laker.
An unbelievable performance by Magic Johnson.
It dawned on you late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, they're going to win this game. They're going to do it without Kareem.
There it is. It's over, and the most valuable player is Magic Johnson. He starts at center, plays forward and guard.
Without the big fella, we wouldn't have been here. So it's just, we won it for him and won it for ourselves.
We were flying home, and I said to him on the plane, I said, so you played center, you played forward, played small forward, you played point guard, you played shooting guard. You want to write our stories for us, too? And he smiled, and he said, I know I could do that.
Coming up.
It is the single greatest moment I have ever had as a Laker fan.
It's the #1 Lakers memory of the 80s. The countdown is almost complete, with only one 80s memory remaining. But before we reveal the top spot, let's take a look at how we got here. At number 10, the Cap retires from basketball in 1989 as one of the greatest of all time. For moment number 9, the Lakers turned things around in the 1985 Finals as they bounced back from the Memorial Day Massacre.
From Game 2, we know we're going to win a championship.
In the 8th spot, Big Game James has one of the biggest games in Finals history.
Worthy follows it in.
At number 7, Kevin McHale lays a vicious clothesline on Kurt Rambis in the 1984 Finals. Coming in at number 6,
Next year, we're going to win it again.
Pat Riley guarantees a second consecutive title. Midway at number 5, Marvin Gaye sings one of the most memorable national anthem renditions ever at the 1983 All-Star Game. For number 4, Kareem overtakes another Laker as the top scorer in NBA history. At number 3, Magic Johnson hits the legendary Junior Baby skyhook during the '87 Finals.
Magic down the middle and a hook shot at 12. Good!
And coming in at number 2, Magic does it as a rookie, securing the Lakers the 1980 NBA championship.
The single greatest game ever played by a Laker.
And now, number 1, the 1985 championship. Before 1985, the Lakers had faced off against Boston in the NBA Finals an astounding 8 times, but had lost every single final. The Lakers had a 3-2 series lead going into Game 6, but no team in NBA history had ever beaten the Celtics in a championship game at the Boston Garden.
In the 68-69 season, which of course capped off when the Lakers lost Game 7 at the Forum, Jerry West, the Finals MVP, still the only guy ever to do it on a losing team. So here we are, it's 16 years later.
So here's Larry Bird, chucking down the court.
We're coming off this gut-wrenching loss in 7 games to the Celtics.
After they had beat us in '84, the first game of 1985 was the Memorial Day Massacre, 148 to 114. And I thought, you know what? They just have our number.
When we got beat really bad.
People had given up. It was only Game 1. People had given up on the Lakers.
And what that '85 team did was say, enough.
It's just so much losing you can take. Eventually, you got to break through.
Well, it's winning time. It's time to go back and win. We got an opportunity. We have what we need.
That was the one thing that Pat Riley kept pushing and motivating us to do, is to play our game. Don't let teams disrupt you or take you out of what you want to do. And champions are going to play the way that they're supposed to play.
After splitting the first 4 games of the series, in Game 5, the Lakers found their sizable lead chipped down to 4 late in the 4th quarter. Pat Riley called a timeout and reset the Lakers' offense. Magic and Kareem responded by extending the lead.
And there's Magic Johnson.
And the Lakers went on to win the game, 120 to 111.
You couldn't have written it better.
And a very pleasant good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen, from the Boston Garden, where the Los Angeles Lakers hope to achieve something they have never done. The Los Angeles Lakers, by winning 2 of 3 at home in the new format of the NBA, have achieved a 3-2 advantage. They want to stifle the Celtics here today and be crowned the 1985 world champions.
Everybody picked their games up. I know I did a better job offensively. Byron Scott did a better job. But it was our defense. We started playing them as a whole instead of breaking them down as individuals.
Magic right side to Worthy. Slam dunk.
Pressure, you know, it's all what you make it. Pressure busts pipes or it makes diamonds. It's one or the other. And we had a lot of diamonds on that basketball team.
4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. The Lakers are the world champions.
You know, it's been a long uphill struggle for the Lakers to get to a point where they could say they beat their arch rival, the Boston Celtics, in the finals in Boston.
It was so huge that they came back and, you know, with Magic, with Kareem, with Worthy, all those guys actually beat the Boston Celtics as a group. It's a huge thing to have on your resume.
We were representing, you know, all those guys who never won. You know, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain.
We came here and got it out of Boston. You know, we took it, we came right in their backyard and took it. That's nice.
After beating them there, going back to the hotel to celebrate in their city, that made it even sweeter.
Now the title is back in LA. Party hard. Everybody in LA get party for us, because we're going to party.
It is the single greatest moment I have ever had as a Laker fan.
The rivalry went from Celtics on top, Lakers on the bottom, and flipped. The Lakers became the dominant team in the rivalry.
The Lakers finally broke through, finally dispelled the jinx that was against them against the Celtics.
This has removed the most odious sentence in the English language. It can never again be said that the Lakers have never beaten the Celtics.
What more can you ask for now?
Nothing, just win some more championships. That's it.